Ba-ba. Mustard.
Yeah, man.
Kendrick, man.
Literally.
Kendrick.
Psych.
He's not the special guest. All right, let's dive right in. Welcome, folks. Welcome.
What's up, guys?
Welcome to La Handover, where I pass over this live stream responsibility to incoming PFPMP Rayon Peterson. Back at it
Back at it,
in the Muppet Show.
like we never left.
Excited?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
am very excited. I'm very excited. Of course, we've been following Parliament, and it's
Yeah,
been
from the ministry.
exactly, and it's been interesting to say the least. So I have a lot of stuff to correct coming from my future colleagues. So it's gonna be fun.
Nice, nice. No, I think a lot of people have told me they're looking forward to having that dynamic back in there. You know, you don't have Emmanuel, so you got to be the de facto pit bull, pretty pit bull, but yeah.
Sure,
But yeah, so Tuesday, we will both be sworn in. I think ministers in the morning, MPs at 2 p.m.
yes, a piece of
So I will be sworn in as a Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sport, and Rayon will be coming in as an MP once again to serve out this 2024-2028 term. I wanted to hand over the live stream to him because I will be doing different things on that side and more on that later to keep you guys updated and to keep in touch. But you're going to take over this lovely little community that we've built. They're not always vocal, but they do be watching, and they do wait for it. And we're also going to announce right now that it's going to switch from being weekly to bi-weekly. So I think you've decided to focus on the meeting weeks so that you get that full update from what the meeting weeks actually had going on, along with everything else. So yeah, and the offices look crazy now, but
Yeah,
when I get my stuff out, it'll be okay. And
I
then
mean you can stay, but you
it'll
gotta
be
take
all
stuff
right.
too. You gotta take stuff.
But yeah, so for myself, I just wanted to use this live stream opportunity also to just inform people that that's going to be the switch, that you're going to be the official host moving forward. You're also going to be coming in as faction leader. So this is something that myself and MP Weaver agreed on, that Rayon would be faction leader. So he's going to be the one. Essentially, what that means for the faction is Rayon is the one that represents us at IPCO. There are certain trips that only the faction leaders take. There are certain meetings that only the faction leaders are in. Of course, when the state secretary comes to visit, um, that he will be the one representing PFP when it comes to those types of events and such. So looking forward to it. IPCO again, speaking with our and let me tell you, it has changed. Our colleagues in Curacao, it's different, but also it'll be different in March because they have their election
Oh yeah.
March
Have election year.
21st. So their first it was going to be June because the February one for Aruba is canceled because Aruba has elections in 2 weeks, about 2 weeks, December 6th, I think.
So it's about to be a whole new group.
So it's about to be a
within
whole
year.
new group, a whole new dynamic.
That's
Yeah. Our girl Charlene has her own party, so we got to see how that goes, and Miguel, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
hoping for Miguel and Charlene to have a good showing for the Aruba election, and then yeah, June will probably be the first, and hopefully the Dutch government survives till that.
I'm kind of excited to finally go to April because now I can put this kingdom law that I
Yeah,
studied to actual use.
to good use. Yeah,
So it's that's gonna be fun.
but
And I can practice on the Dutch again.
yeah.
Because,
But I also wanted to give so what we did when we first came into parliament, we didn't really have a live stream in 2020. So to give you the opportunity now to also talk about, what are your plans then? Because I know there's been a lot of discussion on parliament doesn't really drive laws, but of course, government itself also throws,
yeah.
some energy into legislation. So
Yeah.
what's if there are like two things mainly that you want to focus on this term for parliament, what would be the first?
Actually, within the first year, I want to focus on first of all the screening law.
Right.
I think that this last year we've been plagued with enough controversy in regards to the screening and it being a whole gray area. And just like the other islands within the kingdom, it can be regulated by the national ordinance. And I think that that should be a priority for us. And not only, for example, with the case of me and former MP Emmanuel, but for everybody that would need some clarity in the future as to whether or not there's a problem with your screening, like MP marriage, for example,
Yes.
when
Yes.
he was former third.
Mhm.
So I think that that's very necessary. And what I would want to also focus on is the laws that the ministries already have in place, because like we always say, Parliament is the legislator,
Co-legislator, yeah.
but that only means that we co-legislate, meaning that we approve. But the legislation itself, it mostly happens with ministries who have the expertise, who have the people who have to make these laws. But I think that Parliament should take the lead in pushing some of these laws, because I'm sure
Yes.
that, for example, the Ministry of Education, you guys might have some laws that have just been sitting there pending, and and it's just to send it to that one three
Yep.
to continue the process, and it normally gets stuck. But I think that if we check within the ministries for those laws, we can actually get the ball rolling when it comes to
Right.
legislation. So I think that it's a dual effect, but we also need to be a little bit proactive as Parliament to say, ministers, it's not only committee meetings to talk about projects or recent developments. No, let's actually have some technical meetings
Yeah.
as well and pass some of these laws.
And that screening law also kind of ties into, like, so I know that I was updating you, in the document I prepped for you as well for as incoming faction leader, the discussions that have been happening at a faction leader level, which is there was a terms of reference that went out. The Committee for Electoral Reform basically voted for a law firm to be given that contract to work on electoral reform, because the screening law falls under
Falls
that.
under that, yeah.
So there's that. We had our one small piece of electoral reform, which was the removal of the curtain from the voting booth. But even when it comes to elections, there's still a lot that has to be looked at. So I look forward to seeing you continue harp on that
Yes.
in Parliament.
I'm going to be
The
arguing with the
menace.
secretariat a lot.
Yeah. But overall, like I said, I think it's going to be real positive now. This is also growth for the party. Myself leaving Parliament after actually serving a full term, which I always advise people should do.
Yep. Before you become a minister.
Because you don't know what it is unless you're a VAC minister, like a business. You're being brought in from outside of the political sphere. I always say that my father always said as well, you should serve at least a term in Parliament, if not two, to be honest,
Yeah.
to really have that helicopter view, and then be able to come in and on the executive side, and figure out how best to execute the things you were yapping about in
Yep.
Parliament.
And I'm
So
kind of excited to see you sitting on the other side of the
yeah,
fence. Yeah.
so
So
coming in as education, culture, youth, and sport, I know a lot of people have had a lot of questions, but mostly it's been positive. I'm not a person to rest or wait for the day of swearing in to actually do stuff. So I've been having my little meetings here and there with some relevant stakeholders in in and around ECYS. So there's definitely going to be some unpopular decisions that have to be made, and this is something I'll communicate to the country as a whole after
full
being sworn
transparency.
in. Yeah, yeah, in full transparency. But I gotta say that some of my priorities are things that I've asked about in Parliament. So literacy, is something that even here on the live stream I've talked about it, where it's a challenge. We don't even have the actual numbers to say how bad it is, but we know it is bad. And then something else that's popping up in other islands as well is numeracy. So mathematical literacy, basically. Like I think a few live streams back I mentioned that CXC said that the results for the math exams were the worst they've ever been around the region in countries that normally have very great math results, like Guyana and Barbados and Jamaica. So definitely a lot to be done, but I also want to just reassure people that it's not going to just be education, even though that is one of the most important parts of that portfolio. I have culture, youth, and sport.
Yeah.
There's some exciting things, some research projects that I'm going to be having, my cabinet and other resources work on to kind of restructure how things are done. I think the ministry as a whole needs an overhaul, but that comes with time, and that comes with patience,
And also some legislation.
and also some legislation. Yeah, and there is quite some. I think there's at least 5 or 6 pending pieces, and it's not just ordinances; it's a lot of LBHAMs as well that are pending from from
Which also,
ECYS.
as a minister, you have to push these through.
Yep.
And I think now, with you going in there, it's going to be a very big difference compared to what we've seen, because the follow up is what's important. You
Yeah.
have to drive the legislation. And legislation, it's not only laws that Parliament approves; it's LBHAMs, it's besluiten.
Yeah.
So it's all of that. So the follow up, I think, is going to be key. And yeah, the ministry is
Yeah.
is going to be working.
So it should be fun, and there's definitely a lot to be done as well around sports. In combination with my colleague Minister of Teat, the in culture in that sense, there's a lot as well that needs to be done. A lot of things that need to be kind of just written down, because part of what I think we've also spoken a lot in Parliament is about continuity.
Yeah.
You know, so funny. Like a complaint that I hear all the time is that not everybody knows the protocol when we're all in a space together. So Parliament, ministers, the governor.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, it all, and indeed, sometimes it seems very ad hoc.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is when we were becoming a country, nobody thought to sit down rows and say, hey, could you write down, please, what they call in Dutch a plan van aanpak, an action plan of how it's supposed to go. And this, it's something so simple, but the fact that it's to this day, 14 years as a country, you know, that you don't really have these things kind of mapped out. So even from my perspective as minister, like especially when it comes to cultural events, you know, there's a lot that is under my belt and under the belt of my department that is gonna have to be regulated and just written down, really. And I think I look forward to that because I like piecing stuff like that together.
No, that's just you're actually codifying it.
Yeah.
That's actually what the law says. You know, when you have stuff that becomes covenant, it's good to codify it. And
Yeah.
that's basically what our system is based on. So
Yeah.
100%. And of course, we have incoming minister Patrice.
Yes, I'm excited to work with
As well.
Patrice too because I think Vrami and ECYS have a lot to click on when it
Most
comes
definitely.
to like maintenance of certain structures and
Mhm.
everything, like and even too in construction when it comes to monuments and the Monument Council.
schools,
It's
everything,
a
yeah,
lot. So
it's all intertwined.
it's gonna be an interesting time. So I'm definitely
Gums, cabinet. Fun fact: I am also I have the same mutual ancestor. So it's a family affair, apparently.
yeah.
It's fun.
It's gonna be. I might have to start going with my middle name because Marinka, Minister of Finance.
But do you want to be?
No, not
I
really.
mean,
Not particularly, but it's gonna be real confusing. So
yeah.
I
Mr. M. Gumbs.
I challenge the press to keep it correct and keep it legit. But no, nevertheless, it's gonna be interesting to have that, and
Yeah,
it's
like, everyone's gonna
actually
meet you, like Melissa said.
and it's a very women heavy calm also. Yeah, because it's only PM, Vesa, and Brahmi
Yep. You guys are the majority.
for women. Yeah, so that's also gonna be nice. I think with Grisha in there and Miss Tackling coming in as justice, which also very much looking forward to working with her too because
An actual fuck minister.
yes,
Yes.
actually, surprise,
Yes.
surprise. Because
Very good choice.
Justice and ECYS, of course, also have a lot to collaborate on when it comes to
Definitely.
bullying in schools, you know, and the fights that are happening currently, and just youth development in general. So I'm very much looking forward to having a relationship with Natalie and working with her to address those issues because those are also critical. And to be honest, I'm also looking forward to working with Mr. Bruch because VSA also. A lot of times, you know, Marvio has said it a lot in the past, and we've said it as well. The bullying that you see, it's the result of something,
Yeah.
and that could be poverty, stress in the home, abuse. You know that those things are projections of what is happening inside. So I think,
Social factors.
yeah,
Like, you know,
social
we should,
factors that
yes,
definitely need to be collaborated on and looked at and solved in a total way. So I really do, you know, for me, it's the intention that no ministry is a silo. And I think that this government as well, the intention is going to be that we just kind of interlink when we have to, and work together for the best interests of everybody on the island.
I think what everybody would need to focus on as number ministers is to get the ministries on board with the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Because the silo behavior, you know, coming from Promi, as the chief of staff for Patrice, you kind of see what the dynamic is. And what my experiences has been that as a cabinet, you really need to pull
Yeah.
the relationship
Yep,
because
for sure.
it's not been fun the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And the civil servants sometimes get the tendency to just stay in their bubble to play it safe.
Yeah.
But you need to be able to give them the space to actually move and do their
Yeah,
job.
for sure.
And you know, show them that as a minister, you have their back as well.
For sure, for sure.
And once you get that, I think they're going to be a little bit more proactive. But
Yeah.
that's going to take time.
Yeah, there has to be buy-in. I think we've always said there has to be buy-in from the civil service, from the ministries,
Yep.
to actually push the things that you want to see happen. And I definitely think everyone has been doing the best they can, and everybody's very tired. Everybody's very weary. There's also a ministry that, sorry to say, for the last 4 years was very much neglected from the top go down.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's.
I mean, we said it in
And for the last 6 months, it's not necessarily been the minister's fault. He has been acting minister with justice as a big portfolio as well on his plate. So I think, you know, it's a lot of repair that has to be done, a lot of trust repair that has to be done and has to be rebuilt. So I look forward to that challenge. And I think that the great work that has been happening, however behind the scenes or however quiet it has been kept, will continue to occur. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and I think all the ministries now are gonna actually start moving because our caretaker status will be gone
yeah,
as of Tuesday. So now we can actually start to look at the project, start to look at the infrastructure, start to look at everything else, and the ministers are not weary of decisions anymore because now we can actually govern. So
exactly. You can actually govern, yeah.
yeah, so I hope everybody takes a proactive
And
and
I think
hands-on
people, I think
approach.
people don't understand that like that weariness to govern is actually a good thing,
100%.
because you are in a certain status where you can do things, but you shouldn't. That you just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I think that like that is kind of how you pop into situations where you find stuff that was literally decided the day before the new government swears in, and that's not what you want to have happen
Exactly,
either.
and I think those examples is especially why being laid back with your decisions in the caretaker status is key. Like for example, Minister Patrice, he has not issued any new long lease parcel to anybody.
Yeah,
Why? He respects the law.
yeah,
He's agreed
yeah,
on verdict,
yeah,
and as a caretaker minister, you don't make such permanent decisions yet.
yeah,
But when we look at the missionary status from previous ministers, for example, the one before him, then yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty apparent that that's what's going on. And I think that the change in behavior from the ministers personally coming from you guys, that's going to set the trend, and
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
And I think there's been a lot of that too. So being in Parliament these last few months has been kind of funny because there's been a lot of attempts to kind of throw shots and shade that we said that you could drop a policy like that, blah blah blah. And I almost wanted to say maybe you're confusing us with MP Bryson, because we know that these things take time.
Yeah.
We've been saying that they take time. I even had to clarify here that we've never said about we don't want to give out tax holidays. I think because it was also said that we're hypocrites for that. So you're gonna have a lot to kind of counter, which
For sure,
which is
for sure.
exhausting. And I don't also want to advise you not to get bogged down in that, because when
Yeah.
you argue with people at that level, they drag you down and beat you with experience.
Yeah,
So
no,
I try not to
I'm going
get too much
to
in it.
I'm going to find my balance, but indeed, misinformation is not
Yeah, no,
it's not in my vocabulary. So if I hear them, you know, spewing misinformation, I am going to correct them, and regardless of which minister is there, yeah, it's gonna be fun. Debates are inevitable now.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. I'm curious to see how you use the interruptions.
yeah,
I haven't used any of mine. One time because when we introduced interruptions, I was on the chair. That was in budget 20 in March, and I was stuck like Chuck. But the interruptions bring an interesting dynamic if used correctly.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they're not used. They're not used as it
yeah,
should
because
be.
I saw some indirect interruptions in the
Yeah,
last couple of months. I was like,
like an
was
attempt at a third
was
round,
that?
kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we'll get there, man.
yeah,
Slowly
yeah.
but surely. We're coming to up the standard in Parliament. So guys, please don't bring any empty motions, because just like MP Westphal Williams,
Yeah.
So let's. I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
No, it's good.
And
So
Tuesday, looking forward to Tuesday. I have no idea what the setup
yes. So
is. So
well, yeah. So Tuesday at 9, the minister candidates go up to the governor's cabinet. Just to refresh everybody's memory, I know we've done this. This is the third time for the year. Yeah, about. Well, no, this will be the
This is
second time
second
for the
time,
year.
yeah.
Yeah, second time for the year. So on Tuesday, the ministers will be sworn in the morning time. Then after being at the governor's cabinet, where the official swearing in ceremony happens, we will be taken to the government building, and there is just like they had last time, I believe, just the room with the guests, a live streamed remarks from the prime minister, and then after just a little reception for the guests and ministers and family, and then at 2 p.m., that's what we were told, the members of parliament are going to be
Yes.
sworn in, also at the governor's cabinet. So that will be happening, and then I think you guys have a meeting after, because I'm not sure actually. That would be a question for Garrick.
Yeah.
But because I know that we had one, so when we were sworn in after the snap election, we went to the parliament building at 2, and we had a meeting, and that's where everybody gave their kind of opening remarks and stuff
Oh,
like
maybe
that.
that's because it was a brand new term.
Maybe, exactly,
yeah.
because it was a brand new parliament, brand new term. So we'll see. I do know that last time there was a meeting where MP Kotai was given an opportunity coming in, to speak. So on Tuesday will be you coming in for PFP, and then you have Dimarla Bega coming in for DP. Is that him, right?
Yes.
Yes. Dimarla Vega coming in for DP, and then for the URSM, you have Veronica Janssen Webster and Chris Weaver coming in as well to Parliament. So It's interesting. It's very young parliament
Yep,
in
yep.
age and in experience, on both sides, to be honest. So it's gonna be interesting to see that how that dynamic evolves, basically. And then yeah, then that would be that. So Tuesday by like 5 p.m. we say it's all a wrap and
Yep,
it's official and everything can kind of move forward as it needs to.
yep. And then we're going straight back into work.
Yeah.
I believe there's already a
Who's
trip
untie your
planned.
ties now?
So I was actually planning
To learn?
because no, me and Melissa have a meeting tomorrow night, and I was gonna bring the tie that I was gonna bring
What?
to the thing. That's how I was gonna start. I was gonna figure it out, but that was my plan. I have the tie already,
YouTube. How to tie a tie.
but I went the whole 4 years,
You did without learning.
which is not a good
That's
thing,
not
guys.
good.
Do not
As
do
the
that.
incoming Minister of
I
Education,
will learn.
I
I will
support
learn.
adult learning at all times. So please,
But you always
please.
did it, so
Ah, so
that
yeah,
was kind of my thing too.
this will be your moment. You got this. You got this. So yeah,
I'll ask
so
Ludi to help me. Ludi looks like she got me that.
I think she can.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can tie a tie. So I think that should be fine. But either way, you should learn for yourself. Because
Don't worry, guys.
guess where she won't be? At IPCO.
Oh yeah.
And then you can't pop down and ask anybody else to do that. Don't embarrass us like that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Come good.
Yeah. So yeah.
I'm
So
a bit tying the tightest tie I ever seen.
Rayon, the first MP with clip-ons.
I got a thick neck.
Anyway, guys.
Hey.
So that was basically what we wanted to touch base on with you today. Just to update you on what's happening and to officially hand over, leaving my trusty webcam in your care, as well as my trusty my screen, so that you have a dual situation. My trusty
I'm not
microphone.
as tech savvy as Mel, guys, but I will.
I've done my best.
Yeah, she has.
I've done my best.
If you see the setup here right now, this looks quite the opposite.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, so basically that'll be that. And then I think yeah, then you gotta just set your schedule. But it will be after every meeting week of Parliament. As you know, Parliament has one prep week, one meeting week. And then you gotta do the IPCO live stream too, my guy. Yeah, because that was also well, I did that in the heat of the GB situation. So that was fun. Not
yeah,
really.
remember me when it comes to trips, I've never taken a trip.
Yeah.
An official trip.
This is true.
This
is true.
I do not believe in wasting taxpayers' money.
Well, IPCO is not a waste.
No, exactly. As
The
faction
only
leader,
thing that's
exactly.
really not a
So
waste.
as faction leader, I understand it. But me, I wasn't a faction leader, so
Yeah.
I did not.
That's true. You do win because we're not in Parliament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But I do think you should try to go to a Parliamericas trip. I've had heard that it's even Peter Weaver went last year, and she did say that it had more value for her than Parlatino. She could see the value in it because it also includes most of our neighbors immediate right now. So that's partially why I also advocated for us to even join it, basically. So I definitely think that that's something that you should look into when the next
and I
cycle.
can also speak Spanish.
Hey, se habla español. So yeah. But thank you guys for joining us. I hope, trust that you guys will stick with Rayon when he comes in and keep this live stream going. It is definitely one of my favorite ways to touch base with everybody, to come on street camera and be a Muppet, because that's what I like. So not next week, but the week after, or when the meeting week falls, you'll see this mug in here.
She'll be here as a guest every now and then, when we need an actual update. A party leaders update.
I guess. Yeah,
Maybe,
neutral ground though. I'm not coming to Parliament if I'm not invited.
Yeah, no, you're not allowed.
I'm not coming. I'm not trias politicas, guys. But yeah, so Rayon will keep you guys updated, and of course, you can join the WhatsApp community to stay up to date and to grab the link earlier than we do post it everywhere else. And yeah, with that, I wish you luck on Tuesday.
I wish you luck, Minister.
I literally, 4 years ago, Ray said that I would become minister before him, and here we are.
See?
Thank you, Governor.
And with that.
And with that, bye.